machine. I wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, and if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine.
Welcome to the, what, is it Wednesday already? Welcome everybody. I hope everyone's doing having an awesome Wednesday. Welcome. Bruno, welcome. Sweet Chewy, Aquatic, Soul Life, John Lithium, Derry Bennett, Rip Lilo, voice actress Davy Chase. Really? Oh, that's unfortunate. I didn't even hear about that. That is unfortunate. No idea what this channel is, just bounced over from the surfs. I promise it's pretty cool. I promise. DJ Chris, welcome. If you like the surfs, then you'll probably be okay here. Alright folks, let's get started. Free Tibet and Uyghur genocide are two mouthpieces of US anti-Chinese propaganda. I mean, like, look. Anything that you can lobby at the Chinese, whether we've got that in spades, you know what I mean? Like glass houses kind of deal. It's not good, but we're not better. We're no different. We're better. And to pretend otherwise is dishonest. Does that make sense? Oof. DJ Chris. Hello. Let me get my stuff working. Sorry guys, this has been a nightmare today. This has been a nightmare. Alright, let's get started folks. If you want to support the channel, do all the things and all the stuff, okay? I would say ICE treats immigrants worse than Uyghur people. I mean, it's like I said, it's no, like, what are we talking about here? We literally were built on genocide. So anyways, let's get started folks. If you want to support the channel directly, check out the merch store, hit the exclamation mark tip, join the Discord folks. That is very, very important. Join the Discord, check out the Substack, check out my show on this space every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Go subscribe. Go subscribe there. Ladybug, welcome. I think I got everything. Let's get started. Honestly, I just want to play this video because I found the commentary amusing and pretty on the nose, as Mike's commentary usually is. So, I mean, let's just do it. Come on, YouTube. Here we go. Anyone make up anything about China? There's no way to double check. I mean, yeah, but also, like, again, even, like we're just taking, like, kind of like the argument just as it is. Why are we... Who are we again? Sorry? You know what I mean? Like, who are we? Exactly? People that live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Oh, it's not even on. Oh my god.
Michelle Obama is a man! Am I right, America?
You just saw a glimpse of the UFC fight that took place on the White House lawn for Donald Trump's 80th birthday, and it was somehow...
Yeah, again, like, this is also very important to point out. Like, oh, this is all for, like, America or whatever nonsense. Like, no, this is all for Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. He pretends that this is all for like America's 250th or whatever, UFC 250, but nah, let's be honest, this is all about Trump. This entire thing from beginning to end.
More trashy than I expected it to be. It looked like a real-life parody of the Hunger Games or a dumber version of the movie Idiocracy. And I actually don't know how many clips I can show you since the event is paywalled by Paramount nonetheless.
Yeah, we can't really like do a lot of clips. That's why I only showed like very short ones. Honestly, the Idiocracy president, Dwayne Elizondo Mountain Dew Camacho, honestly, that guy was a better president and more self-aware than Donald Trump, because at the end of the day, Mountain Dew Camacho, oh my god, I can't remember his name. Camacho actually decided to give the smart person the opportunity to prove himself. Doomakist. It was so weird seeing US Today's coverage because they covered it but didn't have the rights, so they just had a stationary camera focused on sleeping Trump and the fighter's crotches. Oh my god. Oh, there goes my camera. Trump wishes he was Terry Crews with a machine gun. Yeah, but like not only that, again, like it was the fact that like President Camacho and Idiocracy actually listened to the people that to the person that was smarter than him, and elevated him to a position of power so that he could actually like save the day or whatever after he proved that he was actually correct, is miles ahead of what Trump, like, you know, of what Trump is capable, because Trump is never ever going to admit that he's wrong about anything. Everything that he does is right and correct and true and the best, and then so good, you know. There'll never be any numbers like I am. There'll be never another president like me. I'm the best president. I like how they put a hat on the old, on poor old Trump after the third fight. So yeah, even President Camacho and Idiocracy, like, had more sense and more self-awareness than freaking Donald Trump.
HuffPost did publish a bunch of photographs that I want to show you because they really encapsulate the vibes of this event, and the vibes, predictably, are very, very bad. They're dystopian, they're downright humiliating, and I want to show you what I mean. So here's a picture of tech billionaire Mark Zuckerberg seen schmoozing the president like the spineless, brown-nosing loser he is. You can also see an ocean of ecstatic inbred incels collectively producing what I can only assume are nuclear levels of stench that probably...
Nuclear levels of stench. Alex Jones is so stupid he was comparing the Knicks game to Idiocracy. Yeesh. Wait a minute. Hello?
Caused DC's air quality.
What the heck? What is going on here? Hello? Why is no... Oh, I see. Sorry, guys. 1 second. There we go. Sorry. Jesus Christ. Like I said, today has just been... It's just been one thing after another. But whatever.
The index to drop by at least 100 points, and then other people showed up donning American flag outfits, which is actually pretty legally risky because if they fart, I think that's technically flag desecration, which comes with a year-long prison sentence under the Trump regime. Still, it's a bold choice, and I hand it to them for that. Now, here's another picture. This is the exact demographic that you would expect to see at this event, and they were just throwing shit on the ground like it didn't matter. And, you know, you can only imagine what these same people would say if a Democratic president allowed this level of defilement of our precious and beloved White House. Oh, and of course, pro-Trump billionaire David Ellison, whose network carried the event, was also spotted there, probably so Donald Trump can thank him in person for buying up all the remaining American media outlets and turning them all into right-wing rags. And the cherry on top of the shit sundae was when UFC fighter Josh Hokett called former First Lady Michelle Obama a man, which really speaks to the childish mentality of the people at this event. Like, I've always said that MAGA is composed of emotionally stunted adults, and every day it's like they're trying to prove me right. What exactly is the takeaway here in saying that Michelle Obama is a man? That he thinks she's ugly, or that he thinks she's a transgender woman? My guy, you support an uncharacteristically moist president with a neck pussy who unevenly slathers an entire bottle of Jergens Afterglow self-tanning lotion all over his face every morning. I don't think you're in a position to judge the looks of anyone else. And
Jesus Christ. It kept taking me to the damn short stream, really? You can take it up with YouTube. Hope it only won his fight because he smelled so bad. Song Sweet Dreams? What does that mean? Welcome, Fabiano. The U.S. government is ran by both a kakistocracy and a kleptocracy, and yeah, among other things.
Obama were transgender, then what? If she was actually a trans woman, then what? Being trans isn't a bad thing. You're essentially just pointing at her and laughing like a 9-year-old bully would do to somebody on the playground because they had freckles or something. Like, it is a childish insult that's more embarrassing for you than Michelle Obama. But apparently, even the UFC's fans think that this guy is very, very cringeworthy, and they were already making fun of him before he made that dumbass remark, because at the weigh-in, he decided to pretend to be drunk and fake vomited on himself. And I just want to read you some of the reactions from fans, courtesy of Anthlon Sports, because they did not think that it was as cute as he did. Quote, "What an ass. He's not even remotely funny." Quote, "Threw up. Guy spit out some applesauce he stashed in his mouth. Jesus effing Christ, who the F likes this? A fighter vomiting on himself? Y'all tune in for this? Fuck out of here. Don't think I've hated a UFC fighter more. So performative, attention-seeking, and cringe. I don't care if it's an act. This dude is fucking weird and lame. I will never watch the UFC ever again. This is some WWE shit. I hate this motherfucker. Fuck the UFC. Thank F there are other MMA organizations. Never watching this garbage again." And I had to censor some of the F words, otherwise YouTube might think I'm being a little bit too naughty, but I don't blame them, because this is middle school humor that makes the entire sport that they love look like a joke. But as embarrassing as this shit show was, I actually do have a hot take that might shock you. I personally...
Oh god, here we go. Hot take incoming. We need President Camacho. Honestly, it would be an improvement. I'm not even joking, okay? Look, I don't want President Camacho either. Like, you know, this over the top, like, celebrity, you know, whatever. That's the whole, like, thing for President Camacho. But still, like, even President Camacho would be a significant improvement over what we have. And, like, basically, like, the thing that he did was, I think somebody already pointed it out. Camacho got an expert for the good of the people. Trump assembled a team of conmen to steal from the American people. Yep. Despite all Camacho's, like, shortcomings and just obviously not very smart, he deferred once he was proven wrong, which is, like, I think that's such a key, like, moment in the movie. Okay. Is as soon as he was proven wrong is when things changed and he realized that he was wrong. And that is so, like, that is the pivotal moment there for me. UFC got as low IQ as WWE was before. He still wasn't a malignant narcissist. Correct.
Loved it. I loved every second of it, albeit for very different reasons than Trump supporters, obviously. See, I enjoyed it in a roundabout way because it forced Americans to see...
I didn't watch that. I look, you couldn't pay me enough money to watch the UFC Freedom 250 Trump's birthday. Sorry. Especially with, like, especially with, like, what the UFC is like right now and has become over, like, the years. Just the way, like, just who Dana White is. And, like, listen, I've said this before, again, like, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I don't remember, but I'm a big fan of martial arts, and when the UFC was around, like, years ago, I used to watch it because I'm a big fan of martial arts. But this is not it. This is not it. Yeah, that is a huge difference. Maybe there'll be a miracle and Trump's heart will grow 3 times its size. You know.
America,
give it enough filet-o-fishes.
The way that I've always seen this country, as a complete and utter fucking joke. See, because even before Trump, I've never understood patriotism. You know, it's something that we've all been pressured to be patriotic,
because
but
it feels culty.
it never made sense to me. It was always weird to me.
Because
that,
it's because it feels culty, okay? Like, who does this? Every morning as a kid, we used to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and it always made me feel uncomfortable, okay? And we pass that on to our kids as like normal. That's just what we do. We stand up and put our hand over our heart and stand for the flag, damn it. It's so weird, okay? It's so freaking weird. It's so freaking weird. The reason why is because it's culty. It's culty as shit. It's culty as shit.
I'm the one who gets dirty looks
It's
because
America's prayer. Welcome, Cognizant. Patriotism equals McCarthyism propaganda. Yeah, I mean, like, look, hey, you like your country, whatever. I think it's fine, but understand that this is just like not real, right? I prefer to care about what's happening to the people, rather than what the name of the country is, how big it is, all of that is irrelevant. The first party in that ballroom is going to be a bunch of drag queens. The game suzerain has a daily oath that is a parody of the Oath of Allegiance. That's pretty cool.
I don't stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Why is everybody else giving me side-eye when they're the ones being weird? Why should I feel pride about the imaginary borders that I was randomly born in when that same pride is used to justify heinous acts of violence in other countries?
Yep.
We have to invade Iran and Iraq because we're superior to them. They're barbarians, and we're the civilized ones. We're the good guys. They're the bad guys. We're the best country ever. So anything that we do,
and by the way, this mythologizing has been since the beginning, right? Like, how do you think we justified? How do you think we justified the genocide of the natives? What did you think Manifest Destiny was? This has been since the inception.
Justified. And we tell ourselves how amazing we are. I think so we don't feel bad about all of the atrocities that we commit.
Yeah, 100%.
And we're pressured to
100%. It's like it's that argument right there, that line is exactly how like MAGA must feel, because like and I've said this before, like it's difficult to come to terms with you being the monster, right? Because it can never be you, right? I could never be that horrible. What are you talking about? I'm a good person. You know, just because I like Trump and voted for him 3 times does not make me a bad person. I mean, how could I? How could I be responsible? How could I be responsible for uncounted number of families being separated at the border? How could I be responsible for the atrocities that are happening within these concentration camps? How could I be responsible for ICE Gestapo thugs assaulting people, murdering people? That, I mean, like, I'm not a bad person, right? You see what I mean? Like, and the reality is, yeah, you are a terrible person. That's just the truth. How do you think we justify the genocide in Gaza? It's the same logic. Yep.
Say how amazing we are over and over again as soon as we even learn how to talk, because if we stop jerking ourselves off about how fucking perfect we are, even for a second, reality might set in. You have to say it again and again and again so it becomes true to you. Think about it. We have deified our founders of all people for bringing us freedom, even though they were wig-wearing clowns that designed our entire constitution around slavery, on territory where the native population was ethnically cleansed and genocided, which still isn't recognized to this day, mind you.
And they actively facilitated that. In fact, they were perpetrators of that. The founding fathers, yes, the founding fathers. The supposed American gods of the myth of America. Yeah. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. Those people had absolutely a active hand in encouraging and carrying out the genocide of the natives that eventually culminated in Jackson. I mean, we put Jackson on the freaking bill, man. We put Jackson on the $20 bill. We put George Washington on the dollar bill. It's I mean, I know it's hard to reconcile with, but that's just the reality, right? That's just the reality of things.
Because if we recognize that, it would contradict our hero narrative. But we're told all of this was necessary. We had to do this stuff to establish the greatest country in the history of the world. And anyone who thinks otherwise, they must hate America, which is a country that you have to pay cult-like fealty to if you live here in order to achieve its blessing in the form of the American dream, which is only attainable if you really believe in it. And, you know, maybe that was achievable at one point. Maybe there was an American dream. Almost.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. Like, there was a time where we taxed people, wealthy people excessively, and we had, like, a like, we were moving in the right direction, you know, given the circumstances. We're the best there is propaganda has been ubiquitous throughout human history whenever somebody happens to have more advanced technology or logistics. Yep. There's a small town in New England where you can observe that. I think it's actually in Massachusetts.
Exclusively for white people, of course, but they're still telling us that it's shameful to not be patriotic, even though they're telling us it's our fault if we can't make it in this late-stage capitalist hellscape that they've created for us. It's our fault, not...
Right, and also, like, what are we supposed to be proud of? Like, explain that to me. What exactly are we supposed to be proud of here? Seriously. What are we supposed to be proud of? The genocide of the natives? The enslavement of black people? What we did to the global south and the banana wars? How we're facilitating the genocide of Palestinians now? Like, what exactly, like, where is the good part here? Echo Resto Dragon, welcome. Howdy, howdy. You're supposed to be proud that you've paved the country and coast, to coast malls. True.
Not theirs. It's a joke. So, no, I don't feel pride for a country founded on lies and genocide and racism that doesn't even bother to offer us the illusion of democracy anymore. And in a weird way, Trump is pulling the mask off of our country and forcing us to see it for what it really is and what it always has been, a downright fucking embarrassment to humanity. And I think it's good that millions of Americans are finally seeing this country the way it actually is and not the way we're told it is. And that's the effect I think Trump is having. A poll by Navigator Research found...
I think like that's kind of like a weird... I get what Mike is saying. It's kind of like a weird, silver lining that, like, people are actually seeing, like, what this is for real. And I do believe that more and more people are becoming aware, or at least starting to kind of, the little gears in the brains are starting to turn. Not enough people are there yet. Not enough people are there yet.
That all of the vanity projects Trump is pursuing shows Americans that he's focused on all the wrong things. A majority of Americans think that his 22-foot golden statue, his face on a $250 bill, his UFC fight, and his demolition of the East Wing for a ballroom is the wrong thing for him to be focused on, and a sizable amount of MAGA Republicans agree with that. Moreover, a strong plurality of Americans think that his 250-foot tall arch, his renovation of the reflecting pool, and his $1.8 billion slush fund demonstrates that he's focused on the wrong things. Because think about it, how can the greatest country in the world be focused on things that are so useless and meaningless, that do nothing to improve anyone's material conditions? See, in an indirect way, I'm actually glad, though, that Trump is hyper-focusing on all of these vanity projects. One, because him doing all of this meaningless bullshit is less harmful than any policies that he would otherwise be pursuing, like the SAVE Act. And two, because Americans...
That's true. Him puttering about trying to make the reflecting pool freaking blue and making it all algae, like putting on like the most absolute like circus level UFC event. I mean, I guess this is better than, like, you know, all the terrible things that he could be doing, I suppose. Oh, my God. I mean, I still have to ask. I mean, like, how much healthcare could we have bought for the amount of, like, money we spent putting this together? How much healthcare could we have bought by using the money that we used to destroy, like, the East Wing or whatever? How much money or how much healthcare could we have bought with the tens of, you know, billions of dollars we've spent in a senseless war that lasted, what, like 3 months, 3.5 months? It's the same logic with anti-LGBTQIA laws too. They don't improve workers' living conditions. Yep.
Have never had a more in-your-face example of how little their government cares about them. It's like Trump is rubbing it in our faces. It's like saying, "Hey, fuck you."
Yeah, the guy is saying, or not saying, he said that the material conditions of Americans are not a factor in how he's like doing the whole like Iran war, when it was asked to him if Americans pocketbooks are an issue, and he said no, they'll just have to understand, which is obviously a lie, because he clearly does understand that only goes so far, because you can lie to people, but in reality, but the reality will set in. And in fact, I believe that one of the reasons that this supposed deal with Iran has been signed, or it's going to be signed, is because reality is about to hit. If he would have continued this on for maybe a couple more weeks, that's it. Okay, like there's only so much finite oil reserves that we would be living off, and now we have to replenish all of that. Now it may take weeks to months, God knows, before anything looks to be ready to be normal, and then it'll take more months for everything to actually go back to normal. This is something that is going to be ongoing probably for the foreseeable future until 2027.
You, America, and it really forces them to reckon with the idea of patriotism. If you have a leader that was popularly elected that can just turn around and spit in your face like this. And CNN data analyst Harry Anton explains that there is a political impact that this UFC fight in particular is having.
Take a look here. UFC White House fights are appropriate. Just 16% overall. And among Republicans, even among Republicans, you know, the diehard base Republican Party with Trump through thick and thin, just 31% of Republicans. His approval rating amongst Republicans overall, as you know, usually hovers a little bit north of 80%. So we're talking 50 points lower here. And, you know, this overall, you know, being 16%, you know, what is it, like 28% of Americans, you know, believe in telepathy? So this is even below that.
Does this fall into a broader pattern with the White House of voters' minds?
Yeah, I think this is the big problem here, Omar, which is, you know, Americans just don't think that Donald Trump and this White House is in touch with them because, you know, they put on stuff like that Americans don't really care about. Take a look here. Say the White House is out of touch with people like you. 60% overall. We're talking about 3 in 5 Americans. And look among independents. 80% of independents say that the White House is out of touch with people like them. So all of a sudden you have a White House that is potentially putting on events such as this UFC fights. And, you know, Americans' top issue is inflation. And what's Trump's net approval rating on that? Like minus 50? And you go to yourself, okay, appropriate, no on the UFC fights. And then you put it together with what they actually care about. No wonder that the American people say 60% say the White House is out of touch with people like them. And 80%.
60%. Yikes. GigaChat Emden brings the data. Always.
Of independence.
So this is why I approve of the UFC fight for strategic purposes. I think that the vibes and the symbolism are necessary to wake Americans the fuck up once and for all and get them to realize.
Maybe. I don't know. Like, it's gonna take. Obviously, like these kind of things do have an impact. These things do have an impact, and people do watch this and go like, wait a minute, what are we doing here exactly? So in that regard, yeah, I guess, but we need to facilitate that class consciousness as much as possible, because it may wake some people up, but we gotta get everybody out there as much as possible.
That the way they're viewing the Trump regime is the way that everyone around the world has viewed the American empire for a very long time. Trump is an ugly face that just forces Americans to view the American empire through the lens of every other human being on the planet. We've always been this ugly to everybody else, because think about it. Do you think the people in Southeast Asia or Latin America thought that we were awesome? Thought that we were the greatest country ever?
No.
When we were pillaging their countries for decades?
That's what I was talking about earlier. Like, what good things have we brought, really? Did CNN just have a poll that said 20% of independents are completely clueless morons? Hey, I mean, listen, that's another way of interpreting that data. That's another way of looking at it. Yeah, it's uncomfortable, the amount of people that are either unsure or just simply are fine by this.
It's for their natural resources. Did Iraq think that America was super awesome when Bush invaded them and caused the Civil War? Caused at least 1 million deaths? Did the people of Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia think that Obama was as suave and charming as we all thought when he was drone striking their grandmothers while they were gardening? Drone striking people while they were getting married? Did the people of Palestine think that Joe Biden restored decency to the White House while he was giving Israel the weapons that they were using to commit a genocide? Do you think the people of Iran see Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu as liberators while they bomb the schools that their kids are going to? I don't think so. They probably didn't feel too good about us before the war, seeing as how the U.S. teamed up with Great Britain to overthrow Iran's democratically elected leader Mohammad Mossadegh because he dared to nationalize their oil so people in Iran would benefit from that oil instead of Western corporations. We've never been the good guys. And as much as I hate Donald Trump and actually do think he poses a unique, greater threat than any other president, he is useful in the sense that he's basically holding a mirror up to all of our faces and showing us who we are. His disgusting, shameless behavior is forcing Americans to collectively reckon with who we are and how our leaders let things get so bad that millions of people voted for an openly fascist authoritarian con man in the first place. We really need to grapple with the underlying causes here. And with each even look at why they're going, things start to come into focus.
Hello, folks. Can everybody hear me? Is everything good? I saw that the stream went down for a moment there. Hello. Okay, I think it's back. Sorry about that, folks. Today has been absolutely terrible. Jesus Christ. Today has been terrible. Okay, so I see thumbs up. Thank you, Ladybug. Man, I think it went for me too. Yeah, the OBS just dropped the stream. Whatever, I think it's back. It just blipped out. It didn't really completely shut down. It just kind of blipped in and out.
To show you what I mean, I want to share this clip from MS Now.
Now, if you really look at this crowd, I want you to observe something. The bulk of the people in here, they're young. These are young men. And if you think about the president's base or the core of his base, this is his bread and butter across ethnicities. In 2024, he improved his performance with young black men, with young Latino men, young white men. So if you think about who's coming out to support this, who may actually praise the fact that he's having a UFC match on White House grounds, or the people in line, all of whom appear to be pretty supportive of the president. That being said, we have also over the course of the last few days talked to...
Let me tell you, if it's not one thing, it's another. Jesus, I was trying to like, not only was work crazy, which again, I've been complaining about this for a while, but like it's been like this for months, 2 months, maybe 3 months coming up now. But today has been oof. Now dealing with all these tech issues, come on.
Plenty of people who take issue with this entire thing, describing it as a circus, a spectacle. I just spoke to a gentleman who called it a clown show, and really taking issue with the amount of taxpayer resources going to this. Now, I'll point out the actual UFC structure that was built on White House grounds, that 92-foot claw, that was paid for by UFC and its affiliates. According to a court filing, it cost around $60 million. But when you think about the law enforcement presence here, I mean, we have seen DEA, we have seen U.S. Marshals, we've seen the National Guard, Maryland State Troopers, Metropolitan Police, Secret Service agents, a huge law enforcement presence here. The fact that they've closed multiple major roads, there is still a very large taxpayer cost. I want to play for you some of the backlash I heard from a resident of D.C. Take a listen.
It's a circus rather than a celebration of the country. I still feel like
right, because
we've
it's
gotten
not
away
about,
from all of the
It's not about a quote-unquote celebration of the country. It's about celebrating me, your favorite president.
that make the country great, all of the other historical facts. I'm not sure where UFC fits in with celebration of the United States and our existence, but go figure.
Yeah. So all of those young men who showed up that support Donald Trump, they don't support him because he's addressing the economic anxiety that they're feeling through meaningful policy solutions. They support him because Trump distracts them from the pain that they're feeling from their economic...
He also gives them permission to be like who they are and be bigoted and assholes. I'm just me, welcome. No way in 2 lifetimes that costs that much to put up. Oh.
Predicament with bread and circus. And that, my friends, is the modus operandi of the American empire, always has been. We're told we are the greatest country on earth, and if you can't make it in this hyper-capitalist, hyper-individualistic society, then that's your fault. So that's why unconditional patriotism is so crucial to the American empire, because patriotism is used to reinforce the very system that oppresses everyone. The system can never, ever fail us. We can only fail ourselves. If we don't make it, that's our fault.
Yep.
But I mean, you can't have everybody in society super depressed and angry about their economic situation, because that will lead to social instability that threatens capital. So you do have to give them something to take their mind off of the pain. It's what the Roman Empire did. And now we're doing it pretty explicitly. Bread and circus. That's what this UFC fight does in a nutshell, in my opinion. And like, think about Trump himself and why he alone is the embodiment of the American dream despite his wealth, because this man is very clearly one of the biggest dipshits who's ever lived. So if a dumb, pathetic loser like him found success in this system, if he can make it, then there's still hope for the rest of us. You know, don't think about the fact that he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Just think about how, you know, you don't have to be bright to make it. You don't have to get an education. You don't have to be empathetic. You could be a piece of shit and you can still be successful. You can give in to all of your worst impulses, treat people like shit, treat women like shit, treat minorities like shit, and you could be successful. That's also, I think, why
you just
they're
have
drawn
to be born
him.
rich.
But when it comes to the system itself, anytime Americans start to get closer to the truth and begin to realize that it's the system and not them,
you have to be born a billionaire.
The system offers a new scapegoat for them to sacrifice, to temporarily ease their...
You have to be born rich, okay? That's the main thing. Because if you're just an asshole and you're just a piece of shit, then that's not good enough, okay? You have to be rich and born into a rich family, so that you, being an asshole and a piece of shit, kind of like is conducive to that in that environment. Either be connected or sell out.
Pain. It's
I
always
guess
some
that's
group of
like you would be basically like rolling the RNG, right?
Group of people with even less power than they have, be it immigrants or trans people or Muslims or black people or gay people or any other marginalized group that can serve that purpose and fit that narrative. But with regard to patriotism in particular, to reject the idea of it is to deny the empire a useful tool that they need to perpetuate our misery and keep the cycle going year after year. So again, that is why I hope that Trump keeps doing these kinds of things, because if he's making us all look so foolish that we can't help but question our own patriotism, we begin to wonder why we ever felt that way in the first place and ask ourselves what exactly we were proud of to begin with. Because if our system fell victim to this obvious buffoon clown man who turned the country into whatever the fuck this is, maybe it was never worthy of our pride in the first place.
Yep.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Alec Jones. Alright, folks, we've got a few more things. It's the same old story.
Did an investigation showing that Donald Trump, in between obsessing about CBS did an investigation showing that Donald Trump, in between obsessing about the waiting pool and in between launching a war, has had a lot of time to play the stock market.
Our CBS News investigation shows President Trump has
Christy here to listen and lurk, but here, hey, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
traded stocks at a level never before seen in the American presidency. In the first 3 months of this year, Trump's investment accounts traded 3,600 stocks worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The Trump Organization said Trump's portfolio is overseen by independent investment managers. CBS News investigative reporter Michael Kaplan has been following all this for us. Michael, it's great to have you here.
Great to be here.
What? You mean evidence of Trump being a corrupt POS? Evidence, example number 459,283, 675 billion. Yeah? Really? What a shocker.
What do we know?
Well, this is a financial disclosure that came out last month, and it was really remarkable because you saw 3,600 plus individual trades, most of them of individual companies. And the sheer volume of this is what's extraordinary. I mean, the portfolio leaned heavily into tech stocks and the major technology giants. You had Apple and Amazon and Microsoft and Oracle as some of the most bought and sold securities, but this is sort of unprecedented in the sense we're talking about individual companies instead of index funds or sort of a larger pool.
And
trades.
many of the companies you just named, Check, have active interests before the federal government, point one.
Yep. Crimes are being now done in the open. Yeah, 100%. Like, it doesn't matter. Rules? What? The moment that the Supreme Court said that the president basically enjoys broad immunity while he's president, enjoys like a broad blanket cover for a lot of things, almost pretty much a lot of things. This becomes excusable, right? The moment Donald Trump escaped 34 felonies and suffered zero jail time at all, despite the convictions, despite being convicted, zero jail time. Of course, this is going to happen. I mean, why wouldn't it, right? He's gotten away with pretty much everything. So yeah, this is just do it out in the open. Who cares?
Point two, the president knows better than anyone, any utterance from him can affect the stock of one of these companies. Point three, this president, more than his predecessors, has been open to the federal government negotiating share arrangements, purchasing some portion of privately held companies, all of which have implications for this portfolio.
Yeah, and I just want to stipulate at the top, the Trump organization, which manages these funds, told us in a statement that the president, his family, doesn't have any visibility into what's being traded. This is all being handled by third-party investment managers. But some of the timing of these trades is interesting. Take, for example, NVIDIA, the chip maker. The first week of January, he traded up to $1 million worth of NVIDIA stock. And the next week, the administration loosened export controls around the...
this is just corruption. Corruption, like straight up. Like, can you imagine if this was the story? President Kamala Harris has been found to own NVIDIA stock before loosening whatever. Like, do you think that would actually like fly in with Republicans? No, they would immediately try to impeach her and say that she's corrupt and all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. And then here we have this guy being outwardly corrupt, and I guess, it's all good. It's all good, man.
Export controls around these chips to China. So now NVIDIA has an easier time selling its prized AI chips to China. The president bought hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Palantir, touted Palantir by its ticker name on his Truth Social account after that. And Eli Lilly bought hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Eli Lilly, and the administration has been making it easier to buy GLP-1s and policies that benefit
historically, presidents have had blind trusts where they are so...
historically, but, what are rules, man? Laws, who cares? None of that is in play. None of that is in play.
Far removed from it, and the actions of the federal government, as to be completely unaware. This is closer. I'm not saying it's illegal. I'm just saying it is closer than we've ever seen before.
Yeah, and
I don't know. Look, I'm not like a law expert, but I would say that openly, like, publicly buying shares of a company that you as an executive have the capacity to maybe lower whatever restrictions or trade or whatever goodies you can give this company. I would say that that's pretty cut and dry, but I'm just a layman, okay? So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not how things work, okay? Maybe you can just control things and also own company portions or company stocks of the very whatever. I guess, that's just how things work.
The Trump organization says the president has no visibility into this. And what's actually interesting is the president
understand what's going on here is this guy somehow got the short stick and had to do this investigation. And he's sitting up there like, they're making me say this and the president's going to get me fired tomorrow. I don't know where I'm going to go work. But I just want to remind everybody, the Trump people said they did nothing wrong.
He's never pants down and he's wearing concrete shoes.
Or he's hearing the gears turning of the safe that Barry Weiss is hiding in because she can't have any contact with her employees because she's so afraid of them. And they're like, she's coming. She's going to get this fourth bolted door unlocked and is going to come and reprimand me. I'm wondering how this even happened. I look up what CBS News 24/7 is, and it's not on TV. This is their streamer.
Oh, I see.
So this is how this falls through the cracks, and this is why this guy is shaking uncontrollably like a leaf, is because it's like we're in the bottom rung of stuff at CBS, and we're trying to do actual journalism, and maybe Barry's going to catch wind of this, and I'm going to be in big trouble.
You would think you had evidence.
Is Emma going to be there tomorrow? Is she partying with the Knicks? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't see why she wouldn't be here tomorrow, but I don't know. Who knows? Either way, I'll be there. If not, then it's all the boys. Then it'll be all the boys in the Majority Report tomorrow.
Exactly. God, that makes Barry Weiss sound way cooler than that dumb bitch is.
Why would they be nervous about
Okay, there you
talking?
go. There's the answer. She's off tomorrow for the Knicks parade. Gotcha. I missed Majority today. Yeah, I mean, I missed most of it. Unfortunately, I kind of spend most of my time just like working and kind of peeking at chat from time to time to see what's going on. But yeah, Mom Donnie Stan.
About how Trump has traded all those times, and just like it's funny, like there's a weird coincidence that
it's remarkable.
Like, just days before the government gives a huge contract to a company, Donald Trump invests in it. That is great timing.
That's
why he's
businessman.
such a good businessman. It's about seeing the
timing. Portland, watching Donnie's press conference took me 10 minutes to realize I was not watching a video of my crazy QAnon uncle in the nursing home. There's a Knicks celebration parade tomorrow at 10 a.m. Gotcha. Yeah. I'm just confirmed that Emma will not be on the Majority Report tomorrow. So yeah, guess it's all the boys.
Future.
Lick your finger and stick it in the wind.
Barry, I called it remarkable. Okay?
I've never seen a journalist sound
Where's everybody today? Everybody is here and not here at the same time.
so scared. I've never heard that before.
I just want to reiterate that the Trump people said they did nothing wrong. But we did find reports, and I should say that the Trump people said they did nothing wrong, that they traded 45 times. And I should just add, remind you, the Trump people said they did nothing wrong.
And it's totally
45 times in events before the government. And I will say this, the Trump people said they did nothing wrong. The government had a huge contract that made Trump so much, millions and millions of dollars. I will just say, though, however.
You think he asked for them to distort his voice and put a black shadow over his face?
But guys,
maybe it would be better if I kept my stayed undercover. Like you just put.
Right.
Trump has sold 3,600 tweets.
Lurking painting on the other end of my phone. Thank you. That's so cool. I'm at work and he keeps reading all of the messages, so I'm afraid of anything bad. Yeah. I'm literally just reading all of chat. No, I'm just kidding. Of course I'm not going to say anything bad against TOS. If I see something against TOS, I'm yeeting that into the freaking sun. Traffic in Philly right now is nuts. Yeesh.
To remind you, the Trump people said that they did nothing wrong.
Is this the source? No, it's the journalist.
It's like we live in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, but guys, I mean, we should honestly believe that Eric definitely did not DM that guy looking for insider information about how to gamble on the UFC fights. That would be beneath.
Daniel Cormier. Oh my god. I mean, like, how... It's just corruption on corruption. We Alex from Devil's Advocate Productions went over that yesterday on this space, and I also found out, thank you for the folks in Discord, Echo Rest Dragon, for bringing this up, that Trump also paid these folks in crypto. Okay, crypto.
His character, and it's much more likely that this random guy was hacked because somebody wanted to create the appearance that Eric Trump would want inside information about how to bet on the UFC fights, and it's definitely not an actual screenshot.
I would like to say Eric Trump released a statement saying that this was fake and scary.
So scary. God, there ain't grow a
He
pair.
doesn't even read all my comments. Those are usually the best chats. I feel like that might be subjective. I feel like you may be putting your thumb on the scale on that one. Just my
I'm
2
scared.
cents.
So is he saying it's scary what AI can do?
No, he's scared. There are people out there who actually have some measure of integrity, and I didn't
It's like
realize
being
we
paid
were
in
walking
Monopoly
amongst
money.
them.
Yeah, that's like being paid in Monopoly money and being told that Monopoly money, you can trust that Monopoly money is going to be worth money. And then like, and then you go and turn in that Monopoly money and realize that you're just turning in paper and you're getting cents on that.
Those type of people.
See?
I'm scared. I didn't realize my father was ruling a bunch of nuns and priests over here.
Yeah. Ethical standards are like garlic to that vampire.
Denver.
I'm unbowed, unbroken.
DSA member.
What is it? What's the Dorn thing? Unbowed, unbroken, unsomething. Whatever. Base Xbox.
I was volunteer helping set up for a Mila Kiros rally on Sunday. It was crazy to see how rabid and psychotic money and interests are in our city. Can be behind the scenes. It gives me hope, though. It shows they are really scared of Milat's campaign and the movement more broadly if they're coordinating that much to stop us. While it was frustrating to have to pivot with kids.
Oh, yeah. Okay, there it is. The Dorn official words or whatever. Unbowed, unbent, and unbroken.
Venues. It seems they all they achieved was removing the cap on the audience and making it into a bigger news story than it would have been otherwise. I see that as a net win.
Definitely. This is hopefully an Abdul El-Sayed situation where Hassan just brings more attention to her campaign. But I printed this article out. People should check it out. The Muckraker by Logan M. Davis goes into this a little bit. And we're going to have Maylot actually...
According to Wokeshare, he had leftist Hassan Talkin Piker, Dr. Jihad himself. Dr. Jihad himself.
Actually on the program in our pre-recorded episode for Thursday to talk about this. But this Republican mega donor, the wealthiest man in all of Colorado named Phil Anschutz, has, financial investments in 2 of the venues that had canceled on her. He's a billionaire, mega Republican donor. And they literally had 3 different venues that were backed out of. And then they had to hold it at the state capitol. This is just billionaire capture and, politicization of things like this. So,
hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls.
Quit lying. You don't take phone calls, Samuel Cedar. I put this on. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Alright, folks. We've got a couple of headlines. I don't think I can do all of these because I gotta get out of here. I'm tired, folks. I've got some work to do. I just saw a cute chick during the Philly dope lean. I would have seen her sober and thought that's a dope head. What are you talking about? Samuel Poops, exactly. Oh, I see. Okay, I'm sorry, Soul. I've had to reread that. Sam Cedar from the future. Yeah, he does not do phone calls, okay? I'm just kidding. So real quick, because we gotta get through we gotta get through some of this before I gotta get out of here. I'm already tired, and I've got work to do. I've got assembling to do. The Philly dope lean, Lord have mercy. Georgia Republicans backtrack on redistricting plans, not because they grew hard or because they grew conscious or because all of a sudden Republicans care about democracy. It's just simply because they do not have enough time to get these maps out the door. That's it. So that's, I mean, it's a W. I'll call this a win. But this probably won't be the last time we hear about this. So pay attention, folks, especially if you live in Georgia. This may be coming up in the next cycle. Not this one, but the next one. So I guess for the midterms, this is a W. So I think that This is a good thing. This is a good thing. And again, not because they've all of a sudden cared or grew a heart or grew a spine. It's just simply that they did not have time. Is NBC News a lot of these like a lot of these mainstream media, you know, you kind of have to just translate. Okay, that's what we have to do. We have to translate, get what we can from the story, the actual story, and that's that. You can't expect like unbiased or pristine reporting from mainstream media. You just kind of have to translate, for lack of a better term. But anyways, we'll I don't know what to do. Okay, we'll do this one. Trump threatens to pull unemployment benefits from all states for the first time in history. Which is great, fantastic. I can't close it. Ugh, whatever. I don't want this guy's... Yes, close. Get his fat face out of here. Now I'm scared of who voice texts. He thinks I'm gonna be illiterate. No, it's okay. Yeah, you need to filter the pro-US CIA propaganda. CIA is the biggest drug cartel on the planet. True. The mainstream media is ass. True. Donald Trump's administration is threatening to withdraw federal funding for unemployment assistance in all 50 states. Yeah, the people's president, you know, the pro-worker president, right? I'm pro-worker, I'm so... America's workers are so important to me. A nationwide campaign against fraud in government spending. So remember how we talked about how this was just going to end up being a vehicle to remove social safety net programs? Well, here it is. This whole scheme about like pretending to care about fraud, okay? Meanwhile, them being the biggest fraudsters themselves, is no more than just a scheme to try to gut social safety nets to the extent that they even exist here. In a letter to the governors of 53 states and territories, Acting Labor Secretary Keith Sunderland warned that the federal government would use every available tool to combat waste, fraud, and abuse within state-run unemployment insurance programs, including withholding administrative funds from states for the first time in history. There's no single national program for unemployment support, though the federal government partners with state agencies to support temporary financial assistance for out-of-work Americans. Nearly 2 million people are currently receiving these benefits, and while roughly 229,000 people are filing initial jobless claims every week, according to the Labor Department. But most unemployed Americans face bureaucratic hurdles to receive those benefits. Again, like, just to be clear, like, does fraud exist in unemployment? I'm sure it does. How big of a problem is this actually? And just withdrawing funds is not going to stop it. Okay, making more hurdles, and making it more difficult for people who are already desperate, is not the way to solve it. Okay, it's just not. It's just not. Most unemployed Americans face bureaucratic hurdles to receive those benefits. Most state, hey, Vidingale, appreciate that. Appreciate the lurk. To receive those benefits, most states provide roughly 6 months of payments to qualified Americans. Those programs are typically covered by individual states. The state unemployment tax is paid by employers, but the federal government provides support for administrative costs. Without that support, the loss in funding could force state-run systems to shut down. We are officially putting the governors on notice, Sunderland said in a statement on Wednesday today. The American people will no longer tolerate the blatant waste, fraud, and abuse of their hard-earned tax dollars. No state should allow it either, he said. If states allow it, they will suffer the consequences. The department is no longer afraid to use every lever available to ensure taxpayer money is protected. So yeah, obviously that's a lie. Obviously that is a lie. They're not actually interested in caring about taxpayer money or whatever. They're actually interested in making sure that you don't get benefits. Trump has appointed Vice President J.D. Vance to lead a task force to eliminate fraud, ostensibly designed to root out abuse, but fueled by the administration's politically motivated crusade against Democratic-led states. Yeah, among other things. But yeah, the overarching point here is that they hate you. Yeah, and they want you to suffer. Advocacy groups and members of Congress have accused the Trump administration of disguising Republicans' long-running campaign to slash social services with a veneer of anti-fraud enforcement. Yep, it's exactly what it is. We literally just said that. Vance delivered a similar warning over Medicaid funding last month after slashing tens of millions of dollars to state programs. His task force has withheld $1.4 billion in federal funding after a sweeping crackdown on fraud operations in California, Minnesota, and other states, according to the White House. When people steal billions from the Medicare program, that is theft from you, and that is theft from people who use Medicare programs to pay their bills. Yeah, I mean, Rick Scott, anybody? That same week, the Trump administration announced nearly $1.8 billion compensation fund for the president's allies, a project the Department of Justice claims that has been abandoned while keeping the door open to provide multi-million-dollar payments to January 6th insurrectionists and other aggrieved victims of government weaponization. They're trying to get rid of jobs with AI. They're causing mass layoffs, less jobs, and they're cutting all the social programs. They clearly want us gone. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. This is clearly an evil government. Yep. Yeah, no doubt about it. Department of Agriculture has also recently threatened to withhold funding from states who don't provide data on participants in the SNAP program, including immigration status. So, yeah. Which also, incidentally, undocumented people, undocumented immigrants, whatever, don't qualify for federal programs. Until federal courts intervened, the Trump administration intended to freeze funding for the program altogether. During last year's government shutdown, warned that the well has run dry and no benefits were delivered. In a letter to administrative officials in March, Democratic Senators Ron Wyden and Jeff Markley said the government's alleged anti-fraud campaign is not going after the real fraudsters, but instead cutting off vital funding for services that seniors, people with disabilities, and children rely on to survive and thrive in their communities. The Trump administration's latest target has singled out alleged unemployment fraud in the aftermath of COVID-19, when millions of Americans relied on government aid in the wake of economic chaos during the public health emergency during Trump's first term. The unemployment rate peaked at a historic high of 14.8% in April of 2020. In his letter to states, Sondland said the consequences of alleged fraud during the pandemic are still playing out. Yeah. The bottom 50% only does 2% of the spending in the K-shaped recovery. They look at us like parasites now, like rats. Yeah, meanwhile, they're the actual parasites. Meanwhile, they're the actual parasites. But anyways, yeah, that's true. So anyways, before we get out of here, President Trump's administration on Tuesday today accelerated its dismantling of the education department. Yeah, remember, that's still an ongoing thing, folks. That's still a goal for Project 2025. Like the movie Snowpiercer, where the people in the last rail car. Yep. If you haven't watched that movie, it's a very good movie. I highly recommend it. Dismantling the education department, delegating much of its work to protect the nation's at-risk students. The Department of Justice will take on enforcement of civil rights in education, while the Department of Health and Human Services will oversee special education, administration officials announced. With those moves, the Education Department has now carved away the vast majority of its function for other agencies to handle. Another way of putting it is like basically like the Education Department is basically like hollow. It's like, it's hollow. Like it exists kind of, but not functionally. If most of the functions that a department does is being handled by everybody else, the department functionally is just there on paper, because they can't, I don't think they can actually outright get rid of the Department of Education because that's like a thing through Congress. But for all intents and purposes, like this is basically it. Yeah. The two education departments involved, the Office of Special Education and Rehabilitative Services and Office for Civil Rights, defend the rights of children with disabilities and those who experience discrimination based on race, sex, or religion. Advocates worry the change could mean lapses in communication for families and school officials who will need help. Yep, and they don't care about that at all. Trump, a Republican, campaigned on shutting down the education department, saying he would move education back to the states where it belongs. While only Congress can close down the department, Trump's education secretary, Linda McMahon, a billionaire and former CEO of the WWE, has formed agreements with other federal agencies to handle most of her department's work. It only exists because of Congress, because the Congress cannot repeal it, or better, without going through Congress. Yeah, like basically, it's just gonna get gutted, to the point where it's functionally it's non-existent. And this move with cutting the education department has really screwed us, like personally, with student loans. If you have student loans, I think you can understand or sympathize. What they did with this whole student loan program is absolutely abysmal. And those payments are coming. Those payments are coming, and it's gonna be rough. We're lucky; it's not as bad for us, but I can't imagine for a lot of people what that's gonna look like. The Trump administration has been clear: as we scale back the federal micromanagement when it hinders success, we're equally committed to bolstering the efficacy of the federal government, federal oversight where it is essential. Yeah, I mean, like these people complain about like the micromanagement of federal government. Meanwhile, we have like bathroom bills. Okay, winter's coming. Yeah, exactly. We have Republicans advocating for bathroom bills. Advocates said the change would create uncertainty around services relied upon millions of students and families. As is too often the case, traditionally unserved students, including students with disabilities, Black and Latino students, multilingual learners, students from low-income backgrounds, and students in rural communities, will bear the greatest burden created by this reckless decision, to which disability and civil rights communities have already vehemently opposed. Of course, in a written statement from EdTrust, a Washington, D.C. based think tank that advocates for educational equity. The Education Department has already offloaded some of its programs through 10 earlier internal agreements, but the offices affected by Tuesday's announcements were among the most closely watched. The Office of Special Education and Rehabilitative Services manages billions of dollars in grants and oversees state compliance with Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. The Office for Civil Rights, which have been thinned by mass layoffs, investigates complaints of discrimination at the nation's schools and universities. The Department of Justice will also take over work protecting student privacy and will provide some training and advisory help to schools. While the Justice and Health and Human Services will handle most of the day-to-day duties of the assigned offices, the Education Department will continue to perform some tasks such as responding to audits and issuing final determination in civil rights cases, which is explicitly required to do so by law. And all they've been doing is micromanaging. Representative Bobby Scott, ranking member of the House Committee on Education and the Workforce, said the announcement Tuesday was a political one intended to fulfill the president's campaign promise. The changes, he said, will likely widen inequities for students of color and students with disabilities. Yeah, which is exactly the point. The agreements are scattering education programs to agencies that do not have the expertise to manage them, said Senator Patty Murray. Instead of helping kids get a great education, this administration is spending its time, energy, and taxpayer resources fixated on where employees sit and illegally trying to shut the Department of Education. Yeah. Maybe it's because they don't care about education, and having an educated populace is antithetical to their goals. Rachel Gittleman, president of the union that represents department employees, said the move will create chaos for families, students, and schools. Quote, this will leave our most vulnerable students and families who have been shut out of our education system without the services they need, without protection when they face discrimination. Yeah, no doubt about it. The transfer of special education to Health and Human Services, most alarm disability advocates, especially with who's in charge of that, RFK Jr., would say the oversight of whether schools are adequately serving children with disabilities is best handled by education experts, not medical experts. The IDEA is intended to equip IDEA is intended to equip students as they learn alongside their peers, not cure them. The HHS is not prepared to oversee and administer the IDEA program effectively. Health and education systems speak entirely different languages, including variations in terminology, training, and discipline, said Jennifer Coco, interim executive director for Center of Learner Equity. The education department has nothing to do with ethics. Said McMahon has spent over 6 months in listening sessions with families, advocates, and educators to better understand concerns around how the department's dismantling could affect special education. And of course, she's not going to care. Why would she? Why would she? Many families raise concerns about obstacles to obtaining proper services for their children, but Coco said participants in those sessions were united in their opposition to moving special education oversight out of the education department. I think we agree on the problem, Coco said. We have stark disagreement on the solution, and those transfers today don't feel like the solution to that problem. It's not intended to be. It's not intended to be. If you're poor, if you're disabled, if you are a person of color, or any marginalized group, you are not important, basically. So why would your children be? So why would your children be? Right, it's not in their interest. All right, folks, it's time for me to get out of here. I am ready to get food. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate all of your support. You guys are what makes this channel go. I appreciate it. Thank you for your support. And again, if you want to support the channel directly, check out all the links. That's right, Bruno. All the links. Check out the merch store. Hit the exclamation mark tip. Do join the Discord, please. It really does help us out. Check out my show on this space every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Check out the Substack. Do all the things. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Ladybug, for modding the chat. I appreciate all of you guys. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. Beyond, I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow around 5 p.m. Eastern Time, if everything goes right. What was that, like an hour? Kind of. It was like an hour and a half, I think. An hour and 33 minutes, okay? Yes, I am slacking off today, okay? I deserve it. I earned it, okay? I earned it. See ya! Have a good night. I earned my slacking privileges, okay? I want the next generation uneducated and without the ability to critically think. They believe propaganda and need perfect right-wing voters. Yep. Alright, hang tight. Well, it felt like no time at all. Then that's a good thing. Then that's a good thing. Then I did my job, okay? And I did my job. Alright, folks, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye. I'd subscribe so I did my job too. Appreciate that. Thank you.